welcome to another edition of the Riverfront Reds Show, where this week we try to decide what to buy at Buc-ee's. Chris Garber is joining me. I am Seth Shaner. I stopped at Buc-ee's, Chris, for the first time ever yesterday, and I got to tell you, my head was spinning.
It's something, isn't it?
I'm not even like my college roommate and I made the trip to Atlanta. We're going to get into some of that here in a little bit. I've never really been a beef jerky guy. My college roommate brought some with him, and he handed me a piece, and I ate it, and it was delicious. But it's just not something I gravitate to. I've never seen so much beef jerky as I saw at Buc-ee's.
A wall of beef jerky, don't they?
Oh my goodness! And I watched a man in a funny-looking outfit use a huge chopping device to chop up a brisket, and I was sold. I said, "I'm getting the brisket." So I got to tell you, I know Tim Daniel, formerly of the Riverfront, is a huge Buc-ee's guy. I know one's coming to Huber Heights here sometime in the next year plus. I'm going to stop on the way to Orange Beach, Florida, or Alabama this summer. We're going to go, my whole family, and it's going to be appointment viewing for us. So
it's pretty great. I've been once, I think, and then I think my wife and son went last year when they were on the way to Atlanta. But we got a lot of Buc-ee's stuff at my house for only visiting twice.
That's the thing. Yeah, I bought
Buc-ee's stuff.
I bought some stuff. I didn't get anything for myself. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a golf shirt, I guess.
I got a coffee mug. I got a coffee travel mug deal.
I saw a phone holder with the beaver on it. I mean, okay.
My daughter has the Buc-ee's seat belt sleeve with a furry thing that goes on her seat belt for the back seat of the car.
You bring up having a daughter, and if this is too touchy, then tell me. But my college roommate has a daughter who's in high school, and he was telling me before we went, because they stopped before as a family. He said they sell Buc-ee's beaver 2-piece bathing suits. And he says, my daughter is not going to wear a beaver on her swimsuit. And I said, well, I don't have daughters, so that's foreign to me, man. I don't know.
You may be able to get away with that at a certain age, and after
younger.
that, you're definitely making a statement if you wear that.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Buc-ee's was awesome. My review is that I will be back. I will tell you though, as we ate in our car, because that's what you do. They make a point to tell you we don't have anywhere to eat in here or outside of the store. I ate the brisket. It was delicious. But I said, I watched that guy chop that up, and it looked so juicy as it was. And yet they douse it with barbecue sauce. I think if I can luck out when I'm there and they're cutting it up again, I'm going to say, hey, could I have that without barbecue sauce? And so I thought it was very good with the barbecue sauce, but I'd like to see it without.
Yeah, I feel like Buc-ee's might be better if you could go there. I mean, it's like a destination, right? And it may be overwhelming. I don't know that a lot of people go in there for gas on the way home from work.
That's right.
but there's just too many. There's too much. Buc-ee's is the place that they should take every visitor to the United States immediately from the airplane. They should put a Buc-ee's just inside of customs in every airport, like a real Buc-ee's though.
Make it duty free.
Yeah, that should be everyone's introduction. If you would like to take America and distill it down to its purest essence, I think it's Buc-ee's.
I think so. Although I know it's kind of started. Did it start in Texas? I know it's kind of known in Texas. It felt very southern to me. I mean, it was in Kentucky. That's where I was. I know they're putting one in Ohio, as I mentioned. And obviously I-70. I think I-70 between just south of Pittsburgh and Indianapolis is one of the most traveled corridors in the country with shipping and things like that. And so I'm sure many people will stop at the new Buc-ee's in Huber Heights, but it feels like a little bit more of a southern place to me.
It does. It's just a little overwhelming to me. I'm I go in there and there's just a million choices. What do I want to eat smoked meats, or do I want to eat any of these other, how many salsas do I want? There's just too much in there for me to focus and find the best thing. So I need a Buc-ee's Sherpa or or a just like multiple visits in
But
there.
you could like cleanse your palate. They had like cheese and fruit cubes, and I mean, you could
Oh,
eat
you can eat
fairly
healthy
healthy. You
Buc-ee's?
could eat healthy there. You could. I was noticing some of the healthier things. I ate the brisket, but we're 5+ minutes in, and we've only talked about Buc-ee's. This is great. Um, yeah, so that was great. I made the road trip. I know you were kind of back and forth with me a little bit, so I want to talk about that. Wrapping up the 4-game series as we record, it was a bit of a tough night to start with the offense, but they have pulled even as we record in the 7th inning with Lyon Richardson on the hill. He already has 2 outs, so that's great. The first 2 games, let's just start there. We'll talk about the news of the week, intertwine a little bit with my experiences and things like that. How rough was it watching Tyler Callahan break his forearm?
I, you know, that was horrible. Honestly, watching it live,
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to hurt something way worse than a forearm.
Okay.
Like I thought he went head first into that wall.
Well, yeah.
You see him, he's going full speed. And I'm like, you don't have time to stop, buddy. Like, good for you. This is going to be amazing. Then I was like, oh God, there's no foul territory there at all.
No. And I don't know that it's less foul territory than most places, but knowing I was going to be there the next night when the game started, I'm kind of looking at how it's laid out. And the crazy thing is, from home plate down to about 280 feet or so, it's actually pretty wide foul territory. And then it just juts out. And then you're getting to like Wrigley Field / some of these other places where it's 3-4 feet, maybe, if that,
Yeah,
between the foul
close.
line and the wall. And yeah, it was awful to watch. I feel badly about it, but I quickly transitioned to the he caught the ball argument, even
Same.
as we're trying to find out how he's doing. I still think it was a catch. The funny thing was we rolled out of the car Tuesday at I prepaid for a parking garage not far from the stadium, and we roll in there and I get out and there's these 2 Braves fans, probably in their late 20s, early 30s, and I go, "Hey, it was a catch, right?" And they go, "Oh yeah, that was a catch." It defies logic, and yet I've got people on Twitter still 3 days later explaining to me that I'm wrong to think it was a catch.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you like are complete freak and read the rule 100% literally,
That's right.
like you can get yourself to the spot where he did not remove the ball voluntarily. But like, I mean, a guy could be, dead and he would never remove the ball voluntarily.
That's
Like,
right. That's right.
and the ball's never going to leave his glove.
So Bump Bailey never was
Right.
able to do
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, I think there should have been a little bit more room there for like uh, understanding the circumstances of things because they got that challenge was back in no time.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought, I thought it was obviously a catch, so I thought it was going to be like that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh no, they're looking at this for a few seconds here. But the thing to me was when you watch it, he took 2 full steps, and I'm just like,
I know.
I mean,
I know. I don't
I
want to
know
be
the
football
NFL.
about it, but
Yeah,
there
I don't.
needs to be an amendment to the rule that says like I don't know. I don't want it to be litigating football moves and all that, but like if the only reason he can't remove it from the glove is the arm is broken and he had to remove the entire glove.
Yeah, I don't even think he voluntarily removed the glove. It was out of just sheer pain.
Yeah. But,
Um, but the thing I kept thinking about was the transfer rule.
right.
And how many times you see a second baseman catch the ball and pivot, and he doesn't even really have the hand on the ball yet. And because he opened the glove before he got the hand in, it falls out. And they said,
Yeah.
no, that's an out. But he
Yeah.
didn't.
This one, like he literally came to rest on the ground
Yeah.
with the ball secured in the glove.
Sure. Yeah. It is what it is. They lost 4-0, so they would have lost 2-0.
Yeah.
I'm sure Brady Singer wishes he had the 2 fewer runs in his 6 innings, but hats off to Tyler Callahan. I hope he gets another shot somewhere down the line to be a big leaguer. It'd be a real shame if this couple days of cup of coffee there was it.
No.
So
I had a special I felt a special connection to Tyler Callahan.
okay.
I'm playing MLB The Show, when I can get on the PlayStation. My boys are playing it round the clock.
Yeah.
I do the Road to the Show where you create your own guy and I'm in Double A for the Reds, and one of the things that as you go through that game that kind of makes it like real life is you build relationships with teammates.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you do it, but like they just have this little bar and it fills up, and I was sitting there complaining to my kids. I'm like, I don't have any friends on this team. Nobody likes me. Scrolling through the roster, and one guy who like had a little bit of affection for me was Tyler Callahan.
Oh,
And so
okay.
that was like a week before he got called up. And I'm like, yeah, my buddy just got called up.
Can I tell you though? Just a slight aside. I know your boys play the game, but I really enjoy the fact that your teenage sons like baseball. Like I know they're Cubs fans, or they're both Cubs fans. Is that
One's
right?
a Cubs fan, one's a Reds fan.
Okay. We don't need the Cubs fan to
No.
love baseball as much as he does. But I actually, overall, I'm just really impressed. My oldest son, really does too. So it's a kindred spirit type thing, and I don't know how realistic it is for today's day and age for kids to really love baseball. It's one thing to just play it and then kind of be a fan, but it sounds like
Yeah.
your guys really like it.
Yeah, especially my older son's really into it. I mean, he
Yeah.
knows he's a Cubs fan, so we got to like tolerate that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
he really, he's into it. He knows everybody. He knows their whole farm system. I mean, he's coming out. He's like, "Hey, they called up so and so," and I'm like, "I don't know who that is."
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
So yeah, Tuesday night I go to the ballpark. So I've been ticking off ballparks pretty much my whole life. I made a list the teams. Now I always list it by teams because I went to original Yankee Stadium last year. It was open. I haven't been to the new one yet. I went to Turner Field before back in 1997, but yet this week was the first time I went to Truist. So I need to go to these ballparks: Miami, Minnesota, White Sox, Houston, Texas, and Dodgers. That's all I've left. So
that's pretty good.
I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know. We tried to get to the White Sox 2 different times because we went to the Cubs. I've been to Cubs. I've been to Wrigley 4 times on 3 trips, but the White Sox are usually not in town at the same time.
Right.
And then we went to Milwaukee the next year, and I thought, well, maybe when we come back through, and they weren't. They were out of town. So, and then I get a little antsy about the South Side of Chicago.
Yeah.
But and also, so usually I try to make it so it's the Reds playing, right? So, unfortunately, MLB doesn't like to schedule Reds at White Sox any time of year other than like April 10th. So, A, the kids are still in school and that kind of thing, but B, who wants to schedule a trip and try to
Yeah.
sit outside in Chicago on April 10th?
The one good thing about the White Sox tickets is they're probably cheap.
Yes.
We actually looked at going up there a few days at the end of July. We might take a trip up there to see my in-laws, and the Cubs are playing the White Sox that week. So the
Okay.
White Sox
Although
tickets are
Yeah.
expensive anyway.
Yeah, for those few days.
Yeah, Dodger Stadium's awesome. You're
Yeah,
gonna love that one.
So I had never been to California until I was like, I guess I would have been about 28 years old. My wife and I flew into San Diego and had a week there. But
So
at
that would
the
have been, was that Petco or Jack
yeah,
Murphy?
'07. And well, I'm breaking little rules here. I actually never got to see a game there because it was All-Star break, but we scheduled a tour at Petco, and it was '07, right? So it's been around for a few years at that point. We get there, and there's this big group of people. And I'm like, oh, maybe this is the tour. So we go to the window and get our ticket, and we stand near the group of people because I'm like, oh, yeah, they're going to call us all together. Well, all of a sudden, this woman turns and looks at us, and she says, "You're not with us." I'm like, "Well, how do you know who we're with?" "Well, this is a private tour." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Next thing I know, Tony Gwynn's wife comes to give these people a tour. And then they go off, and there's about 25 of them. And all of a sudden, this guy comes along, and he's like as old as my dad. And he walks over, and he's like, Shaner? I'm like, yeah. And he says, well, we're going to take a little extra special tour because you're the only 2 that signed up. And I'm telling you, he took us everywhere. We're in the
That's awesome.
clubhouse, we're in the dugout, we're on the field. The All-Star game had already taken place, and the Padres were there to work out before heading to Arizona. And so I got to see some of the players like in the bullpen I was in center field looking right down on them. And then we were in their clubhouse, and nobody was in there at
In
that
the
point.
home clubhouse?
It might have been they might have been third base, so we were in the road clubhouse, I guess,
Okay.
and we were in the first base dugout, but they were still out in the outfield when we were on the warning track there. And it was funny because I'm on the field and I look up and I see that big old lady that told me that I couldn't be with them, and they're just in the press box. I'm like, "How you doing up there?" But it turned out the guy was he had a doctorate or he had a master's degree from Ohio State, and
Oh wow.
he was actually in the ag science program, and my dad was ag education, so almost the same time. So he was like he loved us, so he's like, "Oh, we'll just go everywhere. It's fine." But yeah, so that one I didn't see a game, but I have been there. But we went up to Anaheim on that trip and saw a game.
I like
I
that.
did
I like that park.
I did Angels Rangers, a 12:30 Sunday game or 1 o'clock Sunday game. Back to the hotel, the Marriott down the street. Bought Disney like post peak hours tickets to Disneyland. I'd never been to Disneyland or Disney World at that point. We went 4:30 to 1 a.m. at
There you
Disney. My wife wouldn't even let me get a turkey leg or anything. She's like, "We gotta go to the next thing."
go.
And I ended up at the ESPN zone at midnight or 12:30 or 1 Pacific, which you think, let's go to the ESPN zone. Well, nobody's playing sports at
Nothing's
12.
playing. Yeah, you can watch Hawaii.
You're kind of backwards there. So yeah,
Yeah,
so I got that far north, and then in 2019 we did Oakland and San Francisco. So I
that's
just
pretty
haven't seen
great.
the Dodgers. Yeah.
I went to Miami last year
Yeah,
on
you
the
saw
Caribbean series. I like that. That's cool. We did a tour of Houston on spring break 2 years
okay.
ago. I can't vouch for. I didn't enjoy Enron at all, or
Really? Well,
Minute
Enron.
Maid, or
Good
whatever
job.
it's
Yeah.
called. I don't know. I felt like I was in a warehouse.
That's how I felt at Milwaukee. I thought it felt like an airplane hangar. Chad
Well,
Dawson
the
loves
one
Milwaukee.
time I went to Milwaukee, the roof was open,
Okay.
so it was like being in the bottom of a bucket with the sun beating down on you. There's no breeze.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of beer selection though. I
I
like
think the
that.
problem too when they have to close the roof if it's warm but it's still raining or something, like they don't have air conditioning.
Oh, is that right?
They have heat. I think they don't have heat in Seattle though. I've been in Seattle when it's been cold and it's like, "Oh, it's cold in here."
Yeah,
Um, but no, they don't have I don't think they don't have air conditioning in Milwaukee, I don't think. And so it
yeah.
was I but was in there once when it was fairly warm. Truist Park, very nice. It's very modern, you know. I will say I mentioned on Twitter the sound system really stood out, and not in a way like where was I? I was somewhere and I thought it was too loud. I'm getting old
Mhm.
enough to think things are too loud. This was not that. It was just right, but it was so much richer than the sound system at Great American. So I think it's about time maybe for the
Interesting.
Reds or Hamilton County or somebody to look to upgrade that. But the thing about the sound system too was like the organist, the music selector of what kind of music they played when, and even the videos they put on the screen, everything was just right on. Like I remember at Ohio State years ago, there was a scoreboard animation team that won awards and stuff. It was mostly students. And, you know, obviously it's very primitive to more video and things like that. And I'm sure it's way more advanced now with computers and things like that. But like they took it very seriously. Not that the Reds don't, but it was a whole other vibe.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and even I heard him joking on the radio, but I heard it myself in person. The guy played Old McDonald had a farm when Spencer Steer came up. Steer, yeah, yeah. There was
That
another one. I'm blanking on it now, but it was pretty clever. Um, yeah, they hit all the right notes. It was good. It was fun. It was interactive. Like it wasn't a sellout, but everybody's kind of into it. You know, um, I think it lacks a little charm. Like it's not Baltimore or San Francisco or something. You know, it
yeah.
doesn't have. But and I kept thinking a little bit. It's not a cookie cutter stadium. It's not like the big circle like Fulton County or Riverfront was. But it has a bit of a cold feel to it. Like it just feels kind of like I said, modern. You know, um, felt a little bit like Nats Park. And I know Nats Park they built kind of with that monument look, right, on
Mhm.
purpose, the concrete or whatever. But I don't know. It was interesting.
Did I? My wife said that they had a, like a Braves Hall of Fame there.
Yes and no. What I saw was behind home plate downstairs. It's like almost like the rotunda there. As you walk through it, you could go up and actually like they had all the retired numbers and all the Braves whatever they call them, Hall of Famers or whatever. They had bats and balls and gloves and different things, and it didn't cost anything to get in. I guess that's that's one thing, and it was well done. But it's only what 5 years old, 6 years old now. It certainly isn't what the Reds have with their Hall of Fame, but it was a deal where I'm sure if I had a kid and we were Braves fans, it would be a good way to teach my kid, about the Braves. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was nice too. Yes. I got a pizza. The piece of pizza was like this long. I mean, it was incredible. Um, the cool thing, I was looking at it where we bought our seats. I was trying to understand online. I bought seats in the 300 level, but I'm like looking at it. And I was like, it doesn't look that far up. And the thing they did though was instead of having like at GABP, where the press box is like on like the facade, like above
Mhm.
the lower level. Instead of doing that, they moved the press box like back a little bit. And so there's like 6 or 7 rows of seats, and then there's this walkway, and that's where they had the home plate cameras and stuff.
Okay.
But I was in that, and I literally, like, I saw Sadak, I saw Brantley, I saw Welsh. I was looking up in the press area, the writers area, to see if I knew anybody up there, and Tom Glavine was on the call. And the cool thing was, after take me out to the ball game, all of a sudden, the people that are season ticket holders, they're like, "Oh yeah, turn around," and we all turn around, and Tom Glavine and whoever his partner was starts just whipping Cracker Jack bags. And at first I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. They're tossing them down." No, Tom Glavine is like he's throwing these things, and they're coming in sideways, and they got spin on them. And I actually caught one here in front of my face, but it took me all the way over here. And the guy beside me tried to, come over about 3 seats and grab it. And I was like, "No, that's mine." And I took it back, and I'm like, "Man, I just caught like a slider from Tom Glavine."
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that was cool. Yeah, that was really neat. And then, the funny story I wanted to tell, I'm saving this. I didn't put it on social media. So you remember in that game, the Reds couldn't do anything right. They had all those strikeouts. They ended up with 17 strikeouts in 10 innings. But whatever it was, the seventh or eighth, I think it was the eighth inning when Ellie got on, right? He got an infield single, stole second, got
Yep.
knocked in by Espinal. Well, Ellie comes up to the plate, and he hadn't seen a pitch yet. They've announced his name and all that. And these four kids, I call them kids, they're probably in their 20s, mid-20s, two couples. They turn around, and they're 4 rows in front of me. They turn around to the people right behind them and say, "Hey, will you take our picture?" And again, we just got through the between innings and all that. And they stand up, and they're right in front of us. And like I'm telling you, it's kind of shallow. So even if I stand up, I don't think I could see everything I wanted to see. And I go, "Oh, come on. What are you doing? They're playing ball down there." And so then they sat down, and the girl looked at her phone, and she's like, "Oh, it didn't take," or something like that. So they stood up again, and this is 2 or 3 pitches. And she said, "Well, we got to do it again." And the husband or boyfriend says, "Oh man, but that guy didn't like that we did that." And she looked at me. She made eye contact with me, and she goes, "Oh, he's just a Reds fan." And so they stood up again, and I said, "The best player in baseball is batting, and you're standing and not watching." And this guy from the peanut gallery down to my right goes, "I didn't know Aaron Judge was here." And I was like, "Hey, the joke's on you. I would have thought you'd say Acuna." But yeah, no, it was just funny. But then they did sit down in time for us to see the hit, so that was good.
Good. All right, we got a game update. We have
Yeah,
old friend Rizal Iglesias on the mound,
I see that.
and Jose Trevino doubles.
Yeah, the catching Trevino's. Good job.
And
Yeah, the
now,
game the other night, 3 catchers in the lineup at one time, and a left fielder who 2 weeks ago couldn't play first base because he couldn't throw.
yeah,
Um, it was not an ideal lineup. What were your thoughts?
it's not ideal. I mean, this week, like, it just reinforced everything we were saying back in December.
Uh-huh.
Like, this team needs an outfielder that can hit.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, Nick Kroll decided he disagreed with that assessment, or he was physically unable to acquire an outfielder.
Or he was unable to open his pocketbook.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, and I think what else is proving true is that a lot of these guys they're really 4A
yes.
players. They're
Yes.
really not major league regulars, and the Reds are trying to rely on them.
Right. And so like
pass
Marte
that off.
comes up with the oblique. So you got to move Espinal from left field to third. And you're seeing something before I'm seeing it. I'm on my streaming app. So, and I know you are too, but I must be
No, I'm
looking.
just watching the phone, so
Okay.
I've got the
Oh, okay. Oh, Reese. Heinz 57. Oh,
there you
Rysel, your
go.
bobblehead night is tonight, actually. Rysel might have been bobblehead tonight.
Well, Reese is 2 for 3 with a double and a home run tonight and a walk. So
And
maybe we
that
got
double was a
a major league hitter after all.
that double was a screamer. Had he hit that with any elevation, it's a homer. It was just too low. But that one was not too low. That's a home run. Yeah, no. So Marte had gone down. So all of a sudden, Espinal moves from outfield to third. You moved Steer to left field. And I'm like, luckily he didn't really have to make any real throws. We'll talk about a throw here in a minute. And then, and of course, you had Austin Wynns at first base, and he might be able to kind of dive in the dirt to get a ball as a catcher, but he did not catch a few ground balls that were where he, the old adage, how far to his left and right can he go, right? Like it's just so yeah, that didn't go very well, and it was not a very good experiment. I'm gonna skip ahead now. If we think about what happened at the end of that game, the Reds took that lead, as we mentioned, and then the ball was hit to right field to Fraley in the 10th inning with men on first and second because they intentionally walked. Or no, this was the 9th inning. This was the 9th inning when they tied it 1-1. From our seats, I thought it very strange that like McLean went to cut it off where I would think you cut off for a throw home. And then all of a sudden he's moving about 30 feet or more to his left. And when Terry Francona explained it later, he explained that the throw took him there. But for me, as I watched it, I was like, I thought he was moving earlier than that. Yeah.
I mean, I think this all goes back to Jake Fraley.
Yes.
I mean, so set the situation. You're Jake Fraley. You're looking right in front of you. They bring a pinch runner in.
And you know him.
It's a guy you used to play with who you know is fast. It's a one-run game.
Mm-hmm.
And they hit a ball down the line, 15 feet, 20 feet from the line.
Yeah.
And now Fraley hustled over because he's playing deep. And he cuts the ball off before it gets to the wall. And for some reason, he thinks he's going to throw the runner out at second base.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, he forgets about Stu. Because even if there was 2 outs, right? So even if he gets the guy at second,
the run might score by her.
The run could theoretically score. I mean, probably not, but he had no chance to throw that guy out at second base.
That's right. And
I think McLean and Steer were doing what they were supposed to do in the situation. And I think McLean saw Fraley wheel all the way around to throw to second, and that's why he migrated over there.
Well, and the other thing that I've heard the word hesitate multiple times, that McLean hesitated. I'm not so sure he completely hesitated, except for whatever reason, he was thinking his whole body was turned to catch it and throw to second.
Yes.
Like that was weird. So it was that split second because it was a bang bang play at home.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, those 2 nights, and I'm not saying we got like robbed or something every time, but those 2 nights, every video replay, every check down to first base to see if somebody swung or not, and every bang bang play went the Braves' way and not the Reds' way.
Every time they had the camera on the crew chief, who was the first base umpire, he was saying something against the Reds. Like every single time.
I mean, he was wearing a Braves shirt under the pad or something. Yes. Yeah, I mean, the one time, and again, we're behind the plate, but the one time there was a check swing, and we're like, no, he didn't swing. And he's like, yep, ring him up. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And no. And of course, it was the right-handed batter every time, it seemed like. Yeah, I just don't understand. But I will tell you this, though. The people saying maybe somebody needs to be yelling, Steer needs to tell McLean throw it home and all that. Again, it's a guy that was playing only DH 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
A guy that started that game in left field and had to familiarize himself within. I mean, that scratch happened not long before the game, I think, like
Yeah.
of Marte that caused all this moving around. It's just again, I mean, it's good to have guys that are versatile. And also going back to your point, the Reds maybe didn't know how badly Steer was injured until obviously middle of spring training, because I think they're thinking back in December, well, we'll play in Steer and left a lot because we're going to have CES and Candelario playing first. And
Well, I don't know
so,
if that was a great plan either.
no, but it's better than Austin Wins playing first
I,
base.
yeah, I know. I know. I'm just, Candelario, I think, is what he is
Yeah,
now. And I think counting on CES may have been wishful thinking.
yeah, I guess so.
I mean, like, we fell victim to this thing, and I think intellectually we knew it. But in 2023,
Mhm.
they had all these young guys come up, and they all played kind of well, or at least showed flashes, right? And in our minds, at least a lot of us, we just chalked it up like that's how good these guys are going to be, and they're going to get
Yeah,
better from here. And you never have a situation where all six dudes work out to their full potential.
you don't.
It reminded me so much of like the 1986 Reds
Mhm.
and 87. They've got all these young players, and some of them turned out to be great, and some of them turned out to be Tracy Jones. And some of them were Cal Daniels, who were great but got hurt. And
Right.
like,
But I just feel like if they would have, like, I don't remember a stretch, and I guess, we know Adam Duvall and Scott Schebler hit 30 home runs each one year, which is amazing. But even then, I wouldn't have considered. But I guess what I'm getting at, aside from when they had Castellanos and when he was good in 21, there's been a stretch here of zero outfield production, slugging wise, and all that. Like, I know you had Puig and Aquino if you combine them together
yeah,
back in 19, but even let's just limit it to these 3 or 4 years, because even in 23, they didn't really hit home runs that much.
no.
Like,
And I've been saying this for 4 years now. They got to get somebody to hit the ball over the fence.
do you think they think that because it's such a small ballpark, anybody can do it? Because remember, how many shortstops, Alex Gonzalez, all these guys,
Yeah,
well, that guy will hit 20 there,
yeah. I mean, you hear him say that kind of thing. And I think maybe they got tricked by Schebler and Duvall just like walking in off the street and
Yep.
hitting 30. But it's harder than it looks. And I think they feel like you get enough of these 4A guys in a row, and like maybe Will Benson will be that guy, and maybe Spencer Steer will be that guy, and maybe CES will be that guy, or maybe it's Reese Hine. Like, I don't know. But it's harder than it looks, man. It would have been much better for them to do like they did with Castellanos and invest in a major league power hitter.
Yeah, and again, I've beat this dead horse enough, but even like scooping up Teoscar Hernandez last year with a 2 or 3 year deal,
Yep.
because he certainly didn't want to. He wanted to stay in LA, and he waited till the Dodgers said, "Yeah, we'll take you back this year." But just that kind of battle. We're not even talking about finding Adam Dunn or Aaron Judge, or finding one of those kind of outfielders. We're just talking about like, hey, somebody who can be. I guess Austin Hayes. We need
Maybe
we
it's
need
Austin
100
Hayes.
Austin Hayeses or one gorilla. I don't know, but Austin Hayes is supposed to come back tomorrow. He was the stir that the straw that stirred the drink for these Reds for about a week and a half, and really had us having our hopes up. Maybe him coming back will be the ticket again. By the way, Hines just completely messed up on that line drive. First and second, he jumped up and it glanced off his glove and then hit the wall. So now it's first and second with nobody out. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird too, and I know I didn't see the Callahan game in person, but some of the things I did see with like the weird, striking out 17 times and then seeing the throw get. I mean, that throw, the relay throw from McLean to the home, that thing's been relitigated like 30 times on the internet and on the radio waves and things like that. It's weird. I see some things you don't see every day. Every time I go to a road game, I was at the Ricky Karcher game back in 23 out in Kansas City, and it didn't top that. That was amazing. Um, that was one of those games where it's like I don't even know if I cared if they won or not at the end.
No, you just saw something amazing.
We're watching something insane.
I want to ask you a trivia question.
All right.
Since 2022 to now, there have been 5 Reds hitters who have hit 20 home runs or more in a season. Can you name them? Or 5
Ellie.
seasons. 4 guys, 5 seasons.
So what year was it? 2020.
2022, 23, 24.
Oh, so Castellanos was already gone.
Yep. Votto didn't do it. Gino didn't do it.
Oh man. So Ellie is one.
Yep.
20 plus home runs.
And at least 25 is the most home runs anybody's hit.
Spencer Steer went 2020 last year.
What's that?
Spencer Steer went 2020 last year.
Did.
So he
Spencer
did it.
Steer did it.
And Aquino only hit. Well, that was 19. So we're talking about 22. Aquino was
I'll give you another one. Spencer Steer also did it in 2023.
Okay, so he did it twice.
So yep, so there's 2 other guys who both hit exactly 20 home runs.
That's crazy. Jonathan India?
No.
No. What did Stevenson have last year?
I don't know.
Not 20 apparently.
So this is one was last year. Somebody also hit 20 last year.
Benson? No. Just tell me.
Jamer Candelario.
Oh, he did. That's right. I always forget. Oh, they just.
The other one, I don't think I would have guessed in 1,000 years. This guy hit 20 home runs for the 2022 Reds.
Well, who is it?
Brandon Drury.
That's right. But they traded him. Remember? He hit 20
did he hit 20 for the Reds? Deadline. Yes. He hit 20 for the Reds and 8 for the Padres.
Yeah, that's right. I should have known that. We've got a tie ball game in Atlanta.
20 home runs in 92 games.
Yeah, he was good for the Reds that year. Got himself a little bit of a payday, I think, the next year.
He's out of baseball now, isn't he?
I don't know. We did have some Reds fans behind us. The mother was from Ohio. She was from Salina and a couple other spots. They had moved around, she said, and she had a college-age son that was devoted to the Reds, which I liked because he grew up in Atlanta. So that was kind of cool to see. He's a kid who was in high school probably or in junior high when they won the World Series. Probably would have been in high school by then, and yet he still was a Reds fan. Cheering hard actually made me duck a few times because I thought some people were going to throw some things at him. But no, it was all in good fun, and it was a good experience. I was really impressed. It's just like all these other places. It kind of started with the Patriots when they built the new stadium, and then I know Stan Kroenke did it with the Rams. When you build a stadium now, you're not just building a stadium; you're building everything around it. And it's kind of what the banks have become, right? But this was like hotels, restaurants, bars, stores. It was basically like Easton here in Columbus, only you have a ballpark right there.
Yep.
But it also felt very like not fake, but almost like what you draw up as like utopia. Like
yeah.
And listen, it was very clean. It was I felt safe. We went over to a kind of a restaurant / bar after the game. Said, well, we just avoid traffic. We had nowhere to go but the hotel. We watched some NBA playoffs, which is probably about the most NBA I've watched all year, and then had some nachos, and then headed up the road to the hotel. But it is really cool. And I guess the last thing I'll say, kind of in review, we've got a few viewer mail questions. I was struck, Chris, by the amount of support, I guess I'd say, but like every person seemed to have a jersey. Like 20-something women, 20-something aged women. Now, this 80-year-old lady had a stadium giveaway jersey, but it was a jersey nonetheless.
Yeah.
And I was telling my buddy that I was like, I just feel like you could actually compare the two franchises. You think the Reds won in 1990, the World Series, and then the Braves got good out of nowhere for us in 91 because everybody thought the Braves were just awful for years. But since 1991, the Braves have been a model franchise, right? So I just felt like it just seemed to me that this is what the fruits of the labor are, right? Where year after year after year of winning begets generations of fans. And Chad and you and some other guys always talk about this lost generation we're having of Reds fans who haven't seen success. And it just goes back to the old thing we keep talking about. Like, don't wait for them to win a few games so people come to the game, so then you agree to spend money at the deadline. Go get the players so then we want to be there. And
Yeah.
also we actually see some winning seasons, and it may result in playoff success. And it just like it completely, and even the Bengals, right? This will be 4 years since they went to the Super Bowl, but it still feels like this franchise is on the upswing, and we're kind of all behind them. And I'm behind the Reds too, but I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you, being there in Atlanta, it just was something different.
Yep.
It was like I remember going to 03, the opener for the Bengals against the Broncos in 03. Marvin's first game, Marvin Lewis. There were like 3 jerseys in the whole stadium, and one of them was Boomer, and one of them was Munoz, and the other one was Eddie Brown, and it was from like 1990 or 89, and you could see it was old.
Yeah.
And obviously excitement came a few years later with Carson and Chad and things like that, and new uniforms helped probably. But then people started buying jerseys again. But it's just there's an apathy there where it's a yin and yang, right? Like I mean, they could ask for however much. I mean, they had so many jerseys for sale. Like they could ask, like, here, take my money. That's what the Braves fans were saying. Like, so no, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I was struck by that.
No, I think it's real. I think it's you can't. Sometimes you get the feeling the Reds are treating the fans almost like a hostage situation.
Where are you going to go?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, pay me this ransom, and then maybe I'll deliver or something. I don't know. But,
We will see. I don't know.
all right,
It's tough. Now we're
let's
going
open
to.
those letters.
Well, actually, I was going to talk to you a little bit about Wednesday's game because
Oh,
Hunter Green was looking dominant. He only went through 3 innings. We're getting I don't think it's much, and then he had the MRI, and now he's on the IL. And they're saying 2 starts. We're just 2 starts. It was great to get the win. Frito with 2 home runs. The bullpen came through, but obviously Hunter Green's the headline.
yeah, and it's just really, really hard to give your faith to this organization and this medical team and maybe it's the same everywhere, but how many times have we heard, it's just day to day. Well, it's going to be a short IL stint. Well, he's had a setback. Like that same song and dance we get every time when somebody goes down, and they're always out longer than they originally said. So hopefully it's simple. It's just a little tweak. He it's a groin muscle. Is that what it was?
Yeah, and he felt it during warm-ups, and he apparently didn't feel it before the like in the dugout between innings. So to your point, yes, I hope that's all it is. But I don't know. How we talked a few weeks ago about the kind of planted thing about the idea that they need to sell tickets so they'll spend at the deadline, and how it felt like Gordon Whitmire was either an unwitting or completely knowledgeable messenger in that
Yeah.
news. Tonight in the pregame, when I turned the TV on, they were doing an entire feature on the pregame show about their Pilates instructor and the mobility coach, as that was her tagline on the Chiron. And I'm like, somebody's been hearing the complaints that the Reds have lower body injuries.
Well,
Oh
I
no,
don't know, man.
we got to prove that we don't. It's not our fault.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter, I just really disappointed because he's dominating.
Yes.
He's the best pitcher in baseball right now, and I want him and us to be able to enjoy it.
All right, we got viewer mail, actual letters from actual viewers, as it truly is now. I let them know I was in Atlanta, so that there's going to be some ballpark / questions. And Skylar Webker, host of Late Night Reds, you can catch it on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Skylar's question out of the chute is a little disappointing, but I'm going to have to read it. What do you think John Rocker is doing nowadays? I know he tried to pick a fight with Pat Mahomes the week of the Super Bowl in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't know.
I don't know. He's probably got some sort of streaming show on some completely awful outlet.
Yeah, I don't know. He looked pretty. I mean, he looked somewhat in shape / just swole when he was
Probably just
trying
on
to
road.
tee off
Yeah.
on Pat. So you know,
My son started watching Eastbound and Down a few
okay.
weeks ago, and he was asking if it was based on somebody, and I was like, yeah, yeah, kind of. And he's like, who? And I started to go into it. And I'm like, I don't have the energy for this. Like, if you want to Google John Rocker, like, go ahead. But it's just, I don't want to get into all this for the next half hour.
How big is it that you can just tell them to Google it? I mean, the
Yeah,
Encyclopedia Britannica did not have entries
no,
on.
they did not have a John Rocker.
Well, in our day, it would have been Pedro Borbon, and did he really bite that guy or bite the guy's hat?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Grandpa had to tell me about that. I couldn't
right.
tell. Yeah. So Google is a dad's friend, I think.
Yeah,
All right. Brandon Kamick said, I've been to Truist, and it's in the top half of the dozen or so ballparks I've been to. He said it's not one of the best, but solid. Fenway is his favorite. Rogers Center has been by far my least favorite. I always lump Rogers Center or Sky Dome, as it was originally called. I lump it in with Comiskey or whatever they're calling it now, the new Comiskey. They're in Chicago with the White Sox. They were the last two of the concrete jungles, and then you had in order you had Camden Yards and Jacobs Field and Ballpark at Arlington. And all of a sudden,
Force Field.
yeah. All of a sudden, it was hey, we need to actually build. Even if they're bigger
Yeah,
than they were
yeah,
in the 30s, they need to look like ballparks.
yeah.
And
They thought they were doing that with Comiskey. They just didn't do it very well.
that's true. But I haven't been there, but I've heard how steep it is and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Like I went to one of the last games at the old one, and
Okay.
I think in the program I bought, they had all the designs of New Comiskey Park and how it was going to be a recreation and bring all these elements in. And I don't think they landed it.
Well, and the funny thing is as much as Progressive or Jacobs Field or whatever you want to call it in Cleveland, it is a good ballpark. It's great. But it's interesting. It opened in 1994, and the Reds opened Great American in 03, and there were several in between. But to go and sit, if you have to sit in the upper level at Jacobs Field / Progressive, you still get that taste of how they used to do it, where it's
Yep,
just like straight up a mountain. Whereas
yep,
I don't feel that way, even in the 500 level at the Reds. I just don't feel like I'm just looking straight down at a bunch of little,
yeah.
ants down on the field. I don't know. There's just something about it, and they hold about the same amount of Wow, they did. Now,
They did.
Progressive cut theirs down.
They cut some down. Didn't they cut an upper deck out or something?
They did. They did. Well, and of course we have Joey Gaditza, who is from Canada. So when Brandon Kamick said that about Rogers Center, which I've been to twice, I went back in '93, and it was really cool to be there. It was kind of a marvel,
Yeah,
back
yeah,
then. He said, "Sorry, Joey, about that." And Joey said, "Sing it, brother. Rogers Center is awful, so drab." Which they just redid it too, but I tend to assume it. There's a fly ball caught. Um, so he asked me where my ballpark visits rank. I usually go old and new. So of the
yep.
older ones, it's Fenway. I think Fenway's vastly better than Wrigley. It's just the way I feel about it. And then actually, Fenway was better than Yankee Stadium. I saw them mere days apart. I saw two Reds Yankees games back in '08, and then I saw like 2 days later we were at a Diamondbacks Red Sox game. So I thought it was better than the old Yankee Stadium. My favorite is San Francisco, though. It's incredible. It is incredible.
I've only gone on a tour of that. I didn't go to an actual game there.
Brandon comes in with another secondary comment. He said, reportedly, the new Pope is a Cubs fan. Should we automatically question his decision making? Now, the new Pope's brother was on WGN News tonight saying he's a White Sox fan. So,
Uh-oh.
fake news, Brandon.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite ballpark?
I'm like you. I mean, I'll take Fenway or Wrigley anytime, but I kind of prefer Fenway. And when I walked into Fenway, I mean, it really did feel like I was going into an old church. Like that's a legitimate, and I haven't been there in 30 years, I guess. No, 25 anyway. But so it's been changed up a bit. But new ones, I got to say Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. It's very nice.
Pittsburgh's phenomenal. But I enjoy Denver. I enjoy San Diego a lot. Camden Yards obviously is great too.
Right. I've been to Camden Yards twice. In fact, they played the Yankees both times, several years apart. Philly was okay, but not the best. I did like Denver. Part of it is the Rocky Mountains are right there, and we
Yeah,
got some beautiful sky at sunset and things like that. But again, San Francisco just really hit it. Now I had seen Oakland the day before, so uh, you know, it's boy, you go across one bridge and all of a sudden
yeah, yeah.
you see something much nicer. Um, I need to get to Minnesota. I don't know about it. And again, I thought Miller Park at the time was kind of an airport hangar, airline hangar. I didn't really enjoy it. Um,
Have
yeah,
you been to Detroit?
I have Comerica. I've been there twice. Actually, I kicked myself. I never got to go to the old stadium, and
So,
I was between a freshman and sophomore in college, and I was working with these two guys. We worked at the call-in center for Ticketmaster, and their dad, one of the guys' dads, they were high school friends, and the one dad, the three of them were going to go up, and they said, "Well, we can get another ticket. Why don't you come with us?" Well, we were all three scheduled to work at Ticketmaster, and they wouldn't let us all three. They said two of you can take it off, but not all three. And it's like, well, it's my dad that's taking me, the one guy said. And the guy goes,
yeah,
well, he's my childhood best friend, so I'm going. And I'm like, guess I'm working.
it
Okay.
screwed you over.
And it was the game when Sean Casey, it was like the 11th or 12th inning, and they're wearing old like Negro League uniforms. Sean Casey caught this over the shoulder catch all the way down by the tarp, down the first base, like past the dugout. And there was a man on third, extra innings, and he cut him down. It would have been, they would have lost the game. And then they won the game, I think, in the next inning. And my buddy gets back and I'm like, man, did you see that? That was amazing. And he goes, no, man, my dad wouldn't stay that late. Do you know how
Oh,
dangerous Detroit is? And
oh
they left
no.
early. They left after like the eighth inning. And I was like, well, if I was there, I wouldn't have let you leave. But no, I didn't get to go to the old one, but I did go to the new one both before and after they changed the bullpens around. So
Hmm.
it is a little different now. Um, it's nice. I wouldn't put it up there. It would be behind PNC. And my problem with PNC, I was there when it opened. It was just magnificent. And then I was there I was there like 10 years later, and they hadn't redone anything. Like the scoreboard was still the original one and all that, which is
Oh,
fine, I
interesting.
guess. But the HD display was non-existent because it wasn't HD.
Oh
So
my.
no, it's good. Rex Scott chimes in. He says, my best memory of seeing the Reds was when I was in Chicago for my brother's bachelor party in the early 2000s. Got to see two things I wanted to see: a Sammy Sosa dinger and a Reds win, and also saw the Chicago cops harassing one of our brethren in the stands. That memory may be topped in August. A friend and I are seeing the Reds play the Diamondbacks in Phoenix on a Sunday afternoon. We will drive to LA after the game, check into our Airbnb, and see the Reds at Dodger Stadium. Oh, Rex, can I come? The next day after that, we plan to drive down the coast and go home to Tucson via I-8 out of San Diego. That sounds like a good couple of days.
That is a good deal. It is a good deal.
Yeah. So I just I don't know. We'll see when I get my other ones. My children being the age they are, I'm finding fewer holes in the schedule.
Yeah, definitely.
And you look at it and you're like, well, I could. That's why I mean, it's crazy to drive however many hours down to Atlanta for one game and then come back the next day. But we don't see each other more than once a year or so, and it's like, well, we're gonna just chit chat the whole time and
Yeah, that's
relive the
awesome.
old days, and that's kind of part of the deal. So, well, I thought we'd be done before this game was over, but here we are in the 10th. It's four
Yeah, well,
four, and the Braves have the ghost runner on third after the Reds did not score in the top of the 10th. Stu was up at the plate. They got a called strike on a good catcher's. So how's Liberty baseball? Are they getting ready for the tournament?
yeah, they're playing pretty well. Um, we got 2 weeks left basically.
Okay.
So
Well, it'll be fun and good to see good baseball anytime you can see it.
yeah,
Reds upcoming trip, they'll go to Houston from Atlanta. They'll play there this weekend. Jordan Alvarez, I guess, is hurt. and they're going to miss Houston's best pitcher. So that's a good thing.
Ooh.
Well, you could argue. I was hoping for a Hunter Green, Hunter Brown matchup. Yeah, he's got like the lowest ERA in the AO, I think. And Luis May's throwing over 100 miles an hour right now, Chris.
Yes, he is.
What do you think of him? He's a large man.
Man, he is. He looks like he could take care of business. I don't know. He looked impressive when he pitched last night.
Yeah, he gets in that high leverage point last night for the first time, and I suppose this is fairly high leverage. Although, as we saw Lyon Richardson the other night, it's just kind of like sometimes you get to the 10th and you don't have much left. I'm assuming Pagan's not available because he did not pitch in the 9th.
That's a good point.
Because he pitched the last several nights, including last night, I guess was his birthday, and he got the save. Well, I guess we're not going to be able to wrap this up.
We're not going to be able to live stream this game from last night to have all the
Live
listeners.
stream this game on a podcast that isn't scheduled to come out until after midnight. Chris, as always, I appreciate you joining me. And
thanks, man.
You are always welcome. And hey, actually, I want to share one bit of news. I got word today that a company that makes, the little commemorative bats and balls and things like that, they want to have the Riverfront show for them. So in the near future,
Hey, here we go.
We may have some deals for fellow Reds fans. It's going to be the Nyko Sports 50th anniversary Big Red Machine bats. So don't buy them from any other Reds podcasters. Wait till you get the code from the Riverfront, and we'll take care of you. So that'll be fun, and it should be coming shortly. So, all right. Well, for Tony Rinda, who in 2018's Topps Heritage was considered a rookie star for the Reds, along with Wandy Peralta. For Tony Rinda and for Chris Garber, I am Seth Shaner. And so long, everybody. Have a good weekend.